Hi, everyone. Good evening to anyone tuning in. Um, hmm, Showing up here was a bit of a rush job this evening. I must admit that I came fairly ill prepared. Normally, I'd come with notes, and like I shared via Twitter, I have none. I'm only here with a vibe. Before tuning into this, I was watching a video of Esinako, who's now on YouTube. I will link the profile in the description. Um, she was reading an excerpt from Toni Morrison's Tar Baby. And if I recall the line correctly, I'm paraphrasing, there was a line that stuck with me there that said, forget her, I beg your pardon, forget her, she has forgotten her ancient knowledge. And I think that line particularly stuck with me because of the idea of aligned unions that are coming in the air right now. This is the freshest, rawest moment of channeling that I would have ever shown up as for all of my readings. So please bear with me as I try to bring forth what it is that I feel needs to be said in this live stream. So I imagine that we're all still walking this path of trying to find our truths and our true connections, our true unions, true ways of behaving, true beliefs, the truest way in which we can exist in our lives and in which our lives can interact with other people's lives, and the interactions that we have with other people, that be true. We're working to find the truest frequency of absolutely everything. In the search for this, as I've mentioned, the importance is to remember, and as I've put in the title as well, our vibrating bones. We have to align. We are aligning. We're finishing the process, which in itself never really finishes, really, but we are we're carrying out a very old, deep, echoing process of reawakening our ancient truths. Before coming onto this live as well, and it was a very random thought that I had about the way that we are feelers, the way that we tap into emotions, and how we're so sensitive to things that aren't don't commonly affect other people. I mentioned this a few readings ago about how if you are tuning into my work, it's highly likely that you're someone who feels a bit overwhelmed with you feel overwhelmed by things that not a lot of people seem to be overwhelmed by. We're very special cases, and the reason for this is because we are ancient and we are ever aware of our ancientness. It's as if our bodies are always ringing to us, and it's an extra challenge for us in particular to stay grounded because we're in between worlds, we're in between timelines, we're in between so many things while also trying to be present in this decaying system. While the system is decaying, as the system is falling apart, as if we've all been seeing for weeks, years now. And this links to our title, to the title that I put into the title that I put in this video. Something old and creaky within our bones is waking up and permeating through our energy bodies, through our emotions, through even our minds, to remind us of our timelessness. And basically, the main message that I've come with, I've said this a few readings ago. We can trust ourselves, but we can more than that, we can trust our skin, we can trust our bodies, and we can trust the processes that it puts us through in order to communicate with us. Excuse me. Um, and it feels like it's going to be a little greater than something like I mean, okay, the layer of this understanding is to rest when your body feels tired, eat when you're hungry, etc., etc. But it feels like there's more to that, and it feels like we're going to understand, we're going to further understand our bodies as knowledge systems that allow us to interact with the world and lead us to our truths. As I'm saying this, there is a passage or a little excerpt of explanation from the Sophie Strand book that I've been mentioning everywhere, called The Body is a Doorway, where she poses the question of how far we can take the sense of smell and how far we can use it to say that, or to suggest that we can use our noses to find home and to find people and places of comfort. Um, so things like that, I think, are going to become very important, not just this week, but into the future. But we're training ourselves to be able to use our body as a system of truth seeking. And yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm tying it correctly to the title and to everything that I've said. And then to tie it back to what I introed this video with, the unions and things that are falling away and coming together, they're all for the purpose of aligning us to our ancient knowledge. We each have individual ancient knowledges. Um, and like I said, like I want to really emphasize, I really do feel like I'm reading for people who are eons old. Our wisdom, our true wisdom, things that we can't speak on, but things that we know in our hearts, stretch on for years beyond what we have the words for, which is why, like I said, we ache so much and we feel so much. And I think is also why we can go through periods of intense stagnation and confusion, because it's like we're moving with the earth. I think our stagnation and confusion and moments of stillness and feeling sometimes like we don't belong are very good signs that we are we're in tune with not just other humans, but with the ground and the earth, the trees and the animals. I really believe that the things that we feel are beyond what is normally perceived. And as I've put in the title and as I've emphasized over and over again in this video, we must trust our bones and the vibrating of them, because something within them is coming alive to a point that cannot be spoken about, honestly. It's very difficult to it's always been difficult, but I mean, I feel like we're reaching a kind of it feels like we're reaching a level of wisdom and transcendence that is going to leave yeah, it's going to leave us feeling a little bit more separated from the general collective. Um, possibly your inner guide isithunywa sakho, or like your ancestors will be coming online a lot more to say that you should, all of that to say that you should be respecting your body a lot more. Um, if you haven't already started your sober journey, you should consider it, but don't do it under pressure. And if it is that you decide to interact with drugs and alcohol, try to do it with the understanding that your body is shared. It's highly likely that, or it feels like we need to start making space for that idea that our body is shared with the people who are guiding us, with the spirits that are guiding us and here to assist us. Um, so that maybe you don't, maybe asking for permission might be too much, but at least verbalize and be present with the drugs and alcohol substances that you interact with to say, I am about to have a sip of alcohol now, and do that with the acknowledgement that you're sharing this moment with other beings, other guides, other angels. Shit's about to become a lot more spiritual, like a lot more spiritual, and I think to a level that not a lot of us are used to. And it'll do us justice to make way for that kind of spirituality, because they're here to help and we need them and they need us. There's a story unfolding that's very important, not just us, for our individual lineages, for the world. We have to start thinking bigger than these everyday experiences that we see, bigger than our little 9 to 5s and our little desires to have a lot of money and a big house and da 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 da. Like, um, huge things are coming online about how, while we ourselves as human beings, we may feel like we've only been here for one lifetime of 20 something years or whatever, but the cell of us, the cellular existence of us has been around since the beginning of this all, since the beginning of earth. We are technically we're as old as the sun. And that understanding, the base level of that understanding is going to become very important, especially if you are of color, if you are a brown person, if you are a person of African descent. This idea of ancestors and venerating them is going to become very important and completely unavoidable. Even if you don't believe in it, it's going to catch up with you. It's going to catch up with us all. And I hope that we can give room to that for as far as we can, really, as far as we can. I'm remembering as well how, while I was doing research on Istunya, I saw someone post about how she believes that everybody has one, which I think may be true, actually. Everybody has some guide or spirit that they work with. There's also the understanding that I read about regarding how everything has a deva, everything has its own spiritual god, or like uh everything has its own ethereal body that helps it and controls it. So our hearts have its own ethereal body, obviously. Our stomach, our intestines, they all have their own ethereal body that helps it. And I believe that that's true for our human body, for even our souls. I think our souls may even have a deva or a little god attached to it. Um, but that's a whole other thing that I can get into in a separate live stream. But This video will be about waking up the bones and all the ways in which we can do that. Wait until I'm done, baby. So yeah, thank you to everyone tuning in this moment. Please do let me know how you feel. I'm feeling a bit exhausted and tired, and I had a little a migraine episode yesterday and into today, and I'm still recovering. The energies feel very dense and very not heavy, but like like it's as if it's as if our bodies are bags of like rocks or
Mommy, can I have some ice cream, please?
hold on, baby, wait until I'm done. Um, or I'm seeing our bodies and our cells, our cellul our cells themselves are like doing this, and something about them is becoming thicker or gaining some kind of like momentum or knowledge or aliveness. Um, Something about them is becoming heavier, but I think that's more of the knowledge and the downloads and all of that. We're going to become a lot wiser. We can rely on our intuitions a lot better, and um, it may come to light. It may come to the realization, may come to the forefront of our minds this week that the idea that uh, as we begin the journey of trying to trust our intuitions may feed us information that doesn't make sense, but we have to trust it against that lack of reason that our minds perceive. So our minds are going to have to just, well, I mean, I've been saying this every other reading for the past few weeks. But there may be there may be a more intense tugging of uh, an intense tugging of that, of the push and pull between logic and spirit, um, beyond all else, and more importantly than ever, trust your spirit, trust your intuition, your inner guide. Meditate as much as you can. Move as slow as possible and focus on your breath as much as you can. This is a very, I mean, this is the perfect card actually. It's like this fool. This is the face of the universe, the face of our souls, or the face of everything, the face of all of life really looking back at us going, what will you choose now? What's the next move? And obviously every move you choose is correct. You cannot make a wrong decision, and you have to trust that. And you will be you will be I mean, even that will be challenged to say, like, you'll tell yourself, oh, I can never make a wrong decision. And then there'll be an inner voice or an inner little naughty tug saying, are you sure about that? The answer is yes. Always yes. You know, we're fortifying ourselves, we're strengthening our bones. As they vibrate and they become awake, we need to kind of squeeze them and hold our body into place, and we'll have to practice telling ourselves more often that it's okay, calm down, breathe, slow down, all is well, the moment is fine. We may come up against a lot of feelings of anxiety and uncertainty. um, Possible inner fears can show up, but I don't think it'll be anything shadow worky, more like I'm getting a little bit of a trickster energy. So our line of discernment, our sense of discernment will have to be top shelf. Pearl, yes. We all have Istunya, because I believe we don't have direct interactions with God. Our interactions are channeled through intermediaries. Right. Because looking in the face of God too would be too much for us to process. We wouldn't be able to. I mean, I feel like we do get little pockets of God in every moment, every day, but because we're in a system that kind of constantly discourages that contact, um, the intermediaries are very helpful to kind of soften the message, soften the blow. It's like God comes at us like this. God's messaging is huge and thick and large, and the intermediaries kind of squeeze it down into something that can be fed nicely to you, compartmentalized. And yeah, that compartmentalization will be very active this week, I think, and heading into the end of the month. Um, all of that to highlight again that you are an ancient machine, and before your mind and your anxieties and any thoughts that may try to lead you astray, you can trust your body. I found myself I found myself in many moments doing things on autopilot. Um, and by the end of it all, asking myself, why did I do that? And I find out later that it was actually necessary, like packing a. My sister was actually telling me uh, she's asthmatic and she will find herself packing a pump, one of her little asthma pumps, um, not knowing why, not knowing whether or not she needs it, but she finds out later, oh, yeah, it was totally necessary. That kind of thing. You can trust your body to do that. If your body leads you to sleep or to take a nap, trust your body to do that. Trust your feet, trust your legs, trust your eyes, trust where your eyes lead you to look, trust what your mouth leads you to say, trust what your fingers lead you to type in text, stuff like that. Um, so we have the Fool, and I appreciate that as the leading energy of this reading. I'd like to pull cards to further understand how it is that we can embody this sense of surrender, but also it's giving some sense of like a wise surrender. Okay, right. So yeah, um, we have the Six of Cups, the Page of Swords, and then the Seven of Cups, which we've pulled before. Speaking of releasing logic, needing to find, needing to locate a clear sense of discernment so that we know what we actually want. And then I think this speaks of a possible revisiting of past relationships, past dreams, things we thought we wanted once upon a time that may come up for one last review this week. Today is the end of Mercury retrograde. Happiness and congratulations. We've made it. It was a really awkward season. And come the 12th, which I think maybe Saturday or Sunday, I'd like to just check to confirm that. Saturday. Come the 12th, we have the end of Venus retrograde. And on the Sunday, we have the Libra full moon. This is all in tropical astrology. So I think this week is the very final retrograde kind of review of past dreams, past um, connections, or whatever else we may have thought we wanted. Like I said, things we thought we wanted, but we probably don't want anymore. I personally have faced some of that already today alone. I faced communicating with someone I thought I wanted very badly, enough to have told him that multiple times that I literally want to get married to him, but I want nothing to do with him. So things like that. One last chance to get that review out. I get the sense that we will all be moving on. There may be little sneaky things that slip through the cracks that will either make you think that you wanted it or make you realize that you wanted this more than you gave yourself room to want, you know? Um, it's going to be a new exercise of we're going to be redoing our headspace a bit. Um, so meditation and journaling, I think journaling will be very useful for us. Laying things out. Uh, there was a post that I saw on Instagram, very useful journaling prompts for if you're going through a situation that puts you through high emotions, that tells you to break a situation down into how you feel about it, what the truth of the situation is, and yeah, I can't remember what there were three prompts. I'll post it somewhere. I'll figure out how to post it somewhere and share it with you. Those prompts were so, so useful. But breaking something down into what it is, into how you feel versus what it actually is, um, I think that might be useful in trying to figure out whether or not you want to leave something behind or take it with you into the future. We're rewriting so many new scripts right now. And I think that by the end of this week and into even next month, our lives are going to be, well, our inner worlds, let's say, are going to be looking very different because there's a lot of chat about how our lives are changing, etc., etc. But I personally haven't seen much of a change. I have externally, I have seen a lot of internal change though. And I think that's where all of the real work is. And then after we have kind of like properly corrected our inner worlds to feel more true to feel more true to ourselves, the changes are going to happen so quickly. I think by September, life is going to be moving so, so unbelievably fast. And we'll look back to this winter season that's approaching and understand all the work that we've been doing and be really proud of ourselves. Um, I'd like to read the interpretation for the Six of Cups. I don't think any other one is necessary. I believe that this card has fell out multiple times before in readings, and I think that we get the idea of how we're working on our discernment. I also appreciate how the message of trusting your body is coming up in this reading after I recorded that video today about discernment, the discernment between spiritual ascension and knowing whether or not you need to actually see a doctor. So we have cherished memories, childhood ideals returning in the present, coming to a crossroads, accepting that some ideal aspect of life is over, letting go of all emotional problems and difficulties in the past and turning towards the future, gratitude for the present, purity of vision. And that last sentence, purity of vision, also comes up with the Page of Swords. It speaks of how this woman has a very clear mind. Um, she's able to cut through the dross and outer layers. She's still a bit amateur in her thinking. And I think, I mean, we all understand this as the page energy, but she has begun the journey of of refining her thoughts. And so I think at this stage she's learning very well how to trust herself. I think that's where we are at. How to trust ourselves beyond or through the nostalgia. Um, and I'm going to pull more cards so that I can understand. Let's see the story that's unfolding here. Where will we need to exercise our discernment? There are lots of cups, so it's possibly in our emotions. Um, I have found uh, yesterday and leading into this day that I have been overcome with very old feelings of depression and sadness, but I've been very much in this kind of energy where I feel like a very fresh kind of clarity. I've been meditating every day for about, yeah, I don't actually know, maybe for about a week now. And I've been practicing it like a daily thing. And I do feel very much like this girly, very fresh, very freshly cleared. As I said, starting off this reading, this is some of the first few readings that I have come with no notes, just raw and fresh with energy and just wanting to unpack it. I think this clarity of mind also feels into the awakening of, I mean, feeds into the awakening of our bones. I really love that sentence that I began with. Forget her. She has forgotten her ancient knowledge. And I think this card, speaking of old childhood memories, I think that may be also the kind of ancientness we're tapping into. Childhood experiences. Whoever we were as a child. I don't remember who I was as a child. But there are a lot of memories coming back and a lot of contemplations like, what was that feeling? What was that moment? Who was that girl to me? That friendship, what was that about? You know? questions like that coming up. And then all of that tying into the question of, so what does all of this say about me? You know? Let's see. What else? What else is awakening within us? Hmm. Okay. So we have the Knight of Discs, the King of Discs, the Two of Rods, the Nine of Cups, and the Four of Swords. So, yeah, I really love every time the Nine of Cups comes out, because this this card in particular and the Nine of Discs really encapsulate the birthright vibe, the reason that we are alive. Today I had those kind of contemplations where it's like, if everything is burning, we're all suffering, we really came here to work 5 days and only get 2 days off. Why are we here? This is what we came for. This is what is lodged within our bones that needs to wake up, that we are facilitating the awakening of, um, through this work, as I mentioned, of spirituality, stillness, tapping into ourselves. We really need to get into meditating. If you haven't, really, really genuinely get into it. And I've said in past readings, there's no other way around it. We need to get into being this figure, sitting still, and allowing this light to pour within us, to come within us, awaken our body, awaken our bones, and bring out the knowledge that needs to be brought out. We cannot do this by ourselves. We can be in the moment and we can be in the moment, pull whatever through our minds, but we do need that extra boost of spirituality, faith, and surrendering to our bodies. We really need to surrender to our bodies and trust. Let our bones take over. And I think that the King of Discs and the Knight of Discs falling out like this speak of where we are and where we're trying to get at in terms of our material wealth and perceptions of the world, in terms of trying to be more secure within the way we perceive the world. Obviously, we're all trying to be financially secure, but it's not obviously. It begins with needing to find the balance between your exercising your own personal will and surrendering to the will of the universe, surrendering to these puzzles we that we see, that we have little logical understanding of, but our bodies know. This card, I'm pretty sure we've read on it before. This knight, he is, if I remember correctly, he's very stubborn. He is very confident, but he faces puzzles and challenges with that same stubbornness, and tries to approach um, problems and puzzles that he doesn't understand without knowing when to surrender to the fact that he doesn't understand them. And I think the Two of Rods also, I think the Two of Rods speaks of this. I think these two cards link together in terms of us needing to make a decision. In terms of us needing to make a decision and trust ourselves, trust our paths, trust the path that we're walking that leads to the light eventually, but needing to be clear on it. I'd like to come up with some practical words here, because I feel like I'm speaking too esoterically and I'm trying to understand exactly what's going to come with. So possibly, okay, maybe some job. I don't know if it's going to be a job opportunity, or something about your job will come into question to say, do you actually want to still continue working here? Do you still want to continue this path of seeking whatever it is that you are seeking materially. We do need to consider, anyone watching needs to reconsider their workspace, reconsider their career, whatever path you're walking career wise. You're going to get the question of, is this really going to lead you to the kind of abundance you want? So if you're working a 9 to 5 and you're working in office, the question may come of whether or not you actually want to do that anymore. Do you want to show up in office every day? Do you want to work from home? And if you're working from home, the question may come up of, how much of your time do you want to spend? Yes. Okay, interesting. I hope, Pearl, that you have the idea of the kind of job that you want. I hope you're clear on the kind of hours that you want to work, on the kind of work you want to put in. If you want to work for someone or if you want to work with someone, questions like that, and how any of that reflects your actual abundance and what you deserve. And how, and the happiest version of yourself. Imagine the happiest version of yourself. What job are they working? How many hours are they working? Are they working in office or from home? What area of the country are you working in? Things like that. Um, do you want to work for yourself? Do you want to be your own boss? Or do you mind working for other people? Do you enjoy that structure? And it's okay if you do. That's fine if it is that's the kind of structure you enjoy. There's nothing wrong with working for other people and working for a company that already has that structure in place. I think it's very useful, and that kind of security is comfortable, obviously. Um, yeah, it's going to take a lot of stillness from you, though. No one's going to be able to decide. And I think that if you do take the time to meditate and sit in stillness, you'll be able to feel your body. Your body will be able to feel what is coming. You may wake up one morning. Someone actually posted on their status this morning saying that they can feel that they're about to, specifically, they can feel they're about to receive on this day 2 pieces of good news. And they received 2 pieces of good news. They could feel it in their body. So I think that's the kind of thing that is going to happen for us if you can just trust your body, get into a moment of stillness, give respect to your body as the machine that it is, and intend on receiving those kinds of answers from your heart, so that you may come across a day this week where you wake up and you feel like you may receive good news. You wake up feeling excited for no reason, and it turns out you receive a job offer, or you receive a new idea on how you can achieve your abundance. Receive a new idea or a new way of being that is more aligned with who you want to be. Trust your body in that sense. Honestly, I was planning to start creating content, but my phone just stopped working. I want to be independent, but I don't know which direction to take, and I'll meditate on it. You should. That's interesting that your phone just stopped working. That is fascinating. It probably may be time to sit still on it a little bit more. It's brilliant that you've already had that idea, and that happens to me so often, where the minute you have a spark of something huge gets in the way of what it is of that spark. Something huge gets in the way of that spark. I believe that is a challenge. So it's like the thing that you want, it kind of sparks up, and then the universe does a thing to test how much will you have to be able to, take over and push against it and make it bigger and bigger and bigger until it's a dream that actually just carries on itself, like the success stories of all like successful celebrities, how they always talk about how there's always something that gets in the way, that tries to swallow their dreams up, but your will and your hope for that dream has to be bigger than whatever gets in the way. So if you do want to create content, there has to be a way. There's always going to be a way. You really have to be, I guess, resourceful, work with what you've got. You know how to make things happen. You can trust yourself. Just don't ever feel like a victim. That's the worst thing that you can do, especially in this period of awakening that we are collectively, feeling like a victim and feeling like, oh, I just can't do anything about it, is the worst angle to take. You have to always fix your sights on the fact that there's always a solution. There's always a solution. And know that it's always in your power to be able to do it. Just like the King of Discs, he's very resourceful. He knows very well how to work with the material. He's very practical. Trust yourself. He trusts himself, definitely. So trust yourself in that same way. And trust that your mind will just pop up with something. You'll suddenly see a solution. Hey, Moana. I love your energy. Thank you for that. Trust that you'll always have a solution. That something will always come. I feel cool to read a bit of the Knight of Discs to understand, because it feels like, I mean, we have a lot of like, for lack of a better term, amateurish energy. And the King of Discs falling out with it being the most prominent energy matched with the Nine of Cups. I believe that that's what we're working towards. There's always a solution. There is always, always, always a solution. And it's actually ridiculous for us to ever be in a situation where we don't think there is a solution, because it doesn't even make sense to. I mean, I guess it's a matter of perception. I lost all my money. All of it got stolen. And instead of panicking and feeling scared, I just accepted the energy of surrounding and that nothing is in my control as an overall energy. Congratulations, Pearl. I beg your pardon. Mancha. Hey, sorry. I mixed up the names. But yeah, congratulations, Mancha. Yeah. Shout out. So this is already you. You've already got it. Like, you're already within your King of Disc energy. If you lose money and you don't feel panicked, shout out. You lose money and you don't feel panicked? That's incredible. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool, Moana. Damn. Thank you. That is so cool. Yeah, thank you for sharing that with me. That's really lovely. Yeah, shout out Manja. Congratulations. You have already got it. So I guess whatever's coming, I mean, I think so you've pretty much already embodied this kind of energy. And I believe that something about this week may you I hope you get it back. And if you don't get the exact money back, if you don't get the amount back, then you will get something, you'll get compensated for it. I think we'll all get compensated for whatever loss we've experienced, or we're all working towards this essentially. I said I wanted to read the Knight of Discs. Okay, so a pragmatic, down-to-earth young person, usually male, very good in practical matters and at making things happen, often extremely attractive and entertaining, reliable, grounded, sensual, and physically warm, which is very sweet. I wanted, though, to read the part that speaks of puzzles and things behind it. Oh, okay. So the words that are used in working with this card are paradox and projection. So it speaks of observing this card, looking at the image and working with that. And then it says, as always, whatever you sense when you link into this card is a reflection of your own self. Perhaps the paradox is that we often refuse to look at that which we often refuse to look at that which could be of most value to us. We often refuse to look at that which could be of most value to us. This is an interesting energy. Hold on. Because when I see that sentence, it gives me this. The Six of Cups, I feel like it links to that. We refuse to observe that which is of most value to us, which also links to the Seven of Cups, speaking of discernment and finding clarity on what we value most. So, what is actually, when you think about abundance, what is it to you? Genuinely, what does that look like? Obviously, we're all talking union, love, material wealth, emotional happiness, um, health for our family, for our loved ones, for ourselves. But what does that literally look like? So for me, I had a very turbulent childhood. My I grew up in a nuclear family that tried to present as a very perfect nuclear family, but within it, the structure of the nuclear family was a total mess. We were very good at presenting to be at peace and loving and happy, but inside these walls, inside the house, inside the home, it was terrifying, very scary, and looked nothing like the love that we would show up in the world. My idea of this is to get reparations for that, is to get reparations for that childhood experience that I had. My idea of abundance is to get reparations, and is to, I mean, while it is that I'm following a polyamorous mindset, I still want the reparations to be able to live in the happiness of a nuclear household. So, um, living in a functional partnership with my own King of Discs, actually, as a partner who is practical. I got a lot of messaging over this past weekend of how partnership can be two people literally building together. I heard of two couples um, who used their literal hands, the labor of their physical hands and physical bodies to build a house and a kitchen and all of that. So that's my idea of this, is to land up with someone in union with someone who believes in that kind of labor and long-term investment, who can build a house with their bare hands, um, who can stick around, you know, who will not, uh, who is certain, who can find the sure sense of their discernment, and who can also be certain about me, right? Um, but obviously, that reflects in how I need to be certain about myself. So that's another sense of my abundance, is that um, I need to be sure of myself. That's part of the vision of my abundance, is being a version of myself that is sure of myself. So much bigger, much bigger than material wealth. Material wealth is obviously promised for us. Obviously, it's assumed. So we don't have to worry about that. And it's so mantra coded. Like, exactly, you lose a whole bunch of money, it gets stolen from you. You don't worry about it, because the idea is that you are rich. It will come back to you. You are always rich, even when you're not. It will always return to you. Money is nothing. What really and truly matters most of all is a whole spirit, right? A whole internal spirit, a whole soul, solid bones, a remembrance and a recollection, a proper recollection of our ancient knowledge and of our royalty, um, of our true royalty, which is something greater than material, which once worked through internally will reflect naturally, just as it does with this King of Discs, who is naturally assured in himself, naturally confident. You can trust that this King of Disc as well has a very proper balance between his spiritual and his physical world, which is why his physical world reflects in this way. So it's the same kind of certainty, but a proper security, a proper inner security, so that the outer can reflect that truth. That is the essence of the abundance that we're working towards. We have to remember the money is already promised. It's already there. So we don't have to worry about it. That's interesting. That he's sensual and warm is coming out as I look at this card. So possibly not new relationships, old, because I mean, while this is the last day of Mercury retrograde, we are going to still be in its shadow period a bit. So maybe more exes might pop up. ex relationships that you may have had a huge fun flirting with at some stage, but you have to be real about the fact that that's gone. You can't let those people in anymore. You have to let the past go. You have to let certain individuals of the past go. They lack an ancient knowledge that simply does not reflect your wisdom. You are so much wiser. And it might even feel a bit boring. Some old connections, maybe not love connections, but friendships, they may feel so boring when they try to come back. It's just like, ugh, you're just so past it. I'm going through a season of purging. I feel like my whole identity is being reset and I have growth with upcoming shifts. Okay, Moana. Okay, you can trust that. You may not have a mental grasp of the upcoming shift, but your body does. Your body will know. And you can just, relax into your body. It's okay to be uncertain. And the answers will come exactly when they need to. If you are unclear, if you have no grasp, then it's because there's nothing to grasp as yet. And you can just focus on your little joys. Focus on little joys. It was a harsh awakening, but I feel like after this, I'll never be the same again. I learned that I could be absolutely nothing about it. I could do absolutely nothing about it and live in a system where everything requires having money. And I have none at all right now. Just live it, take a day at a time. Yeah, a day at a time. Yeah. You will get it. You will get it as exactly as you need it. I like to believe that when I don't have money, it's because I don't need it, because there's nothing for me to do. And anything that I believe I need to do is really just a belief thing. And if there's anything you truly, truly, truly need to do, the money for it will come. It'll come exactly as and when you need it. But until then, trust that there's nothing for you to do right now. I'm sorry for that harsh awakening. Yeah. My family and I know a fair share of what that's like to lose a bunch of money. I mean, we're going through a really ridiculous case of scamming right now where this company took a huge amount of deposit money from my mother and they're doing everything they can to avoid paying it back. And this is obviously money that was planned on that now just isn't going to come back. So, yeah, I guess we're having a lot of that. We're having a lot of this, but I think it's because we are being challenged to understand where the true security, where true sense of security lies, which is within, and to understand, like I've said, money is nothing. Um, it's the illusion of the system. It's a very beautiful trick, but it matters very little in comparison to your soul and your truth, to within, to your bones, to the ancientness that you come from. Because we also have to remember that we come from ancestors who had less. I mean, if we are saying we had nothing, our ancestors, they had less than nothing. They didn't even have the internet, right? They didn't have connection. They didn't have phones. They just had each other and themselves, their own body and the land sometimes. And sometimes they didn't even have land, because colonialism. So, I mean, we come from a wisdom that knows of every bit of our suffering. Yeah. We are never ill prepared. We are never ill prepared. And congratulations again, Manja, again and again. It's just, yeah, it can't be easy going through all of this and processing it. It's a level of discomfort that's just, and I guess this is also the signal for, this is also the lead up. The lead up. This is the necessary things, to be still and to sit still and to wait for the answers to come. Wait for the help that you need to come. A boat will come, a ship will come, a helping hand will come out of nowhere. We can open our mind to beautiful coincidences that can unfold, that'll help us just in time, as and when we need them, just in time. I'd actually like to tap into this energy and read the interpretation, knowing that that's what we're working towards. We're working towards a 9 of Cups. We're practically already in this energy. We are embodying it. We are becoming it. It's just a matter of tearing down all the layers that are in the way of us being present with this feeling. Fulfillment, joy, happiness, release, sometimes sexual, the conscious evocation of happiness, acting as if happy. Right, depending on motivation, this is no bad thing. A joyful time when everything falls into place and life seems to be a dance of pure joy. So I like that sentence, acting as if happy, the conscious evocation of happiness. And I actually, there is a tweet that I saw that I'd like to read. I think I retweeted it, but I will read it from the way I've posted it here. It says, if life sucks, you have to be extremely stubborn about finding ways to enjoy it. Nothing else is as important as this. Don't romanticize the struggle. Don't become bitter. Just become defiant in the face of sorrow. No, I will enjoy this time here no matter what. I think that that kind of defiance and stubbornness and, oh no, piss off. I don't care what happens. I am going to try my best to find my joy. And I think, I mean, I'm not good at that at all. But I have been trying to exercise the belief that I am my most joyful when I am myself. So even if I am depressed, I can be truthful about it. I can be honest about it. And being honest, being authentic, like, "Yo, I'm just feeling sad today, man. Ugh." Just being yourself about it, I think is the true essence of joy, because we're not going to be joyful all the time. But I'd like to believe that there's nothing more joyful than being yourself, being authentic and being truthful about the way you feel in each moment. Hmm. And I'd like to tap into the Two of Rods as well, just to reassure us. I know this means this is a symbolism of a good thing, an achievement, form of high achievement. Yeah, high achievement or an extraordinary vision. Sharing a dream, possibilities, acknowledgement of achievement, a successful launch of an enterprise, acting or performing may be an important aspect of life. Okay, acting or performing may be an important aspect of life. So we may possibly need to learn how to just pretend to be happy. Ugh. It's like on the line of toxic positivity, which I hate. I hate that. But I think that something about this is going to help us get clear on what we want, to get a clarity and a kind of discernment. I don't know, pretending to be happy though, acting as if happy, I don't know what that would mean. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what acting as if happy would look like. I don't know what that would look like for me. I really don't know. But I know that if you're a Gemini placement, you're very good at this. So, yeah, I don't know. Also, letting go of an ex lover. I absolutely hate my workplace, but my ex, my first relationship, works in the same building. And I think I was brought here to heal and call back my energy. Absolutely. Wow. I'd actually said, yes, exactly. Right. Interesting. Congratulations on that kind of awareness. That is exactly, yeah, what you've just said. What you've just said correlates with all the cards that have fallen out here. So, yeah, you're right. You're right. You see, and you knew that by yourself. You knew that from your bones. And that's the kind of thing that I'm saying. Our bones know, our bodies know. It's not just that you think, you know that that's what that's that that's what needed to happen. You know it. You know your truth. You know yourself. You can trust yourself. You don't even need to be here watching this reading. You don't need any cards. You don't need anything. Congratulations. And after this week, it's over. You'll probably never even, I mean, I don't know if you were present, Mancha, when I read for the fact that these cards speak of a new career path, and needing to rethink that, needing to rethink where you'd like to work, the kind of working conditions you want, whether or not you want to work from home, all these details, and how this new idea will show up this week. So I think possibly like leading into next month, by the time next month ends, You'll be in a new position and it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I was so anxiously attached, scared, and the wound was so fresh. But this week I finally let go. Congratulations. Congratulations. I definitely understand that feeling. And possibly the remnants of this will need to kind of empty itself out in the shadow period of Mercury retrograde this weekend, Venus retrograde coming up on Saturday. Yeah, after this week, you'll be fully, fully, fully freed from that. Congratulations. I'll pull out a final card and then I think we can go into this week knowing. I mean, yeah, we will go into this week. We are going into this week knowing, regardless of these cards, regardless of this reading, um, there's a wisdom coming online for us that's going to show us how powerful we are and how protected we are and how we are like we really we're the best healers we have. Ourselves, our bodies, our hearts, our bones, the best, the blood running through us is the best medicine that exists for us as individuals. I feel called to read quickly the Four of Swords before pulling out the final card. Conservation of strength to avoid your vital forces being depleted. A welcome refuge in the middle of strife. Solitude, which I think is the energy that Mancha was embodying. Solitude and meditation. Transition period between phases of life, yes. May indicate a need to change the way you think, to see problems as opportunities instead of trials, right? I think that's happening regardless. Um, right. And I actually think so changing the way we think, I think we're moving from, because honestly, okay, this energy gives the sense of someone, while they're sensual, physical, warm, and cute, it gives the sense of someone who kind of like flirts a little bit irresponsibly, who's not serious, who kind of lacks a little, they lack commitment in their sensuality and their fun, charismatic personality. And this energy is of someone who's a lot more secure, a lot ready to commit, a lot more practical. They see a vision clearly, they're set, they're confident, secure in themselves, etc. So putting these two on either side of the Four of Swords, I think that we are working to go from this, to move from this to this. We are transitioning. I think this is the transition period that's being indicated here. With meditation, stillness, finding an inner solitude, changing the way we think, we are arriving to this sense of true inner security that will then allow us to properly manifest a set sense of outer security. That could come in the form of whatever, a secure income, maybe even a secure aura, personality that will attract great networking opportunities, better relationships. You'll be making more solid connections with people. I think that's actually the biggest point because of the Libra full moon, Venus retrograde. Our friendships and romantic relationships and even work relationships are going to start making a lot more sense, and we're going to feel a lot more empowered in the situations versus disempowered, and frivolous. Yeah, empowerment. Never feel like a victim through anything that happens. Never feel like a victim. And then one more card. And this is obviously a note to self. I'm queen victimization, queen of self victimization. I couldn't, I'm so good at victimizing myself. It's honestly, and I don't even mean to be mean to myself, it's a little bit pathetic, but I'm growing out of it. We are becoming. So one more card to just close off the vibe and to send us off. Maybe some practical advice, but whatever comes. Okay. All right. So Judgment fell out facing me. The rest of the cards I don't really want to get into. Interesting, but they're interesting, so I have to read them. It's the Magician, the Tower, and the Queen of Rods in reverse. And the reverse cards, I know in the Red Awake deck, some reverse cards normally indicates bad, scary news, but in this deck, it actually indicates something. Sometimes it indicates really great news. So I'd like to get into that. The Magician, The Magician, I think, is that message of empowerment that I was reading on. And Judgment speaks to the fact that I believe it speaks to the fact that this is coming. This is the main focus. We are leading to, excuse me, we are leading to our point of abundance, clear discernment, clarity, knowing what we want, true alignment, etc., 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 divine union, all of that beautiful stuff. So I'm going to get into the Tower in reverse and then read the Queen of Rods in reverse really quickly, and then I'll close it off. I'm starting to feel a lot of exciting energy in my body, in my bones. So this will be an interesting story of a week. I don't predict anything like I don't feel anything low vibe or sad or awful coming. Although, life has its ups and downs. I just feel like we're going to have a lot of fun making decisions and practicing our true frequency, and embodying it and being really true about it this time. Okay. Let's see what the Tower has to say. Failure of vision leading to undoing, a traumatic event that seems to offer no resolution or light. Illusions destroyed. Illusions destroyed. The mind overset by too many trials, falling apart, disaster that could have been averted. I get the sense that illusions destroyed is what's coming up here. Let's see the Queen of Rods in reverse. Lack of application, grounding, or commitment. Intuition drying up due to misdirected energy. Someone running on empty. If it continues, a serious imbalance may occur, possibly parasitic or destructive tendencies. I get the sense that this may be someone in your orbit. I don't think that this is anyone who I'm directly reading for. And I think that this may involve, I get the sense that if there is anything that may fall apart in your surroundings or in your orbit, it may have to do with someone else that you may then have to step up to kind of like help them from. So okay, be aware of like doing too much to help other people. Okay, this is the energy that I tapped into really briefly that I think we're all feeling into right now. This energy of how most of us are healing from being over empathic or being people pleasy. Okay, and that sentence that I started off with, this live reading, to say, forget her, she has forgotten her ancient knowledge. So we may be dealing with people in our orbit who have forgotten their ancient knowledge, are used to pulling people into their chaos and depending on you to help them or to pull them out or to be the listener or to give them room and patience, always forgiving. Be aware of that. Be aware of somebody kind of like draining you of your energy. Okay, yeah. Past relationships, right. Right. Okay, yeah. This man. I have someone in my life who specifically reaches out to me every time they're feeling suicidal. And the way that they reach out to me, the words that they use, they really weigh me down. And they do it so cyclically to a point where it feels like it like, no offense to them and no offense to anyone who may feel suicidal. I mean, I think everybody in this room has been through it. It gets to a point where when someone repeats their same problems and they kind of like go through the same kind of disaster where it's like, dude, are you even trying to help yourself? So we may be facing that kind of energy with someone who we're very close to, right? With someone who we don't want to let go of, with someone who is our who we're used to, who's a major part of our community, possibly. Okay, so this may be actually the lowest point, just needing to let go of someone who you need to let go of, who you really don't want to let go of, but you have to. They are not good for you. They're not good for you, and they're a disaster, and they're kind of like one of those grenades where they explode and the with the glass, the shrapnel comes into your skin. This may also be a very specifically channeled message. I don't think, I mean, these two cards, they speak of somebody who has a lack of awareness. And I really don't think that anyone who I'm directly reading for has the kind of lack of awareness where they walk directly into a disaster. Because that's what these cards are telling me, that someone, it tells of somebody who does not know how to listen to their body, who doesn't know at all how to listen to their intuition, does not know how to heed warning signs, and walks right into the pit. I don't think I'm reading for people who are like that. I do think, though, that with these cards coming up, that this may be somebody in your surroundings who you will have to let go of. You will have to learn how to say, I cannot help you with this. I don't have the capacity. I don't have the capacity. Yeah. You may not have the capacity to deal with the same old problems. It's just not going to work out anymore with this person who you may be used to helping, but just can't happen anymore. Unfortunately. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. There may be a little bit of a, not a little bit, there may be a fallout. And again, very specifically channeled message. There may be a fallout with a long term friend, an ex lover, someone you may even be in a relationship still with. Oh, yeah. This speaks of needing to choose, um, or being led by forces that are beyond you and needing to make a choice to surrender to the forces, which, with this shape of a heart above, is led by love, which you have to trust is led by love, or to be stubborn against it, fight against it. And yeah, I mean, I guess inevitably lead to disaster. There are greater forces at play. There are greater forces at play. You need to trust yourself. Please put yourself first in any situation you may find with, in any destructive situation. Please put yourself first. I was also reaching out to somebody over this past week who had also gone through a separation with someone who she was in a destructive relationship with. She was saying they were taking drugs every weekend and she just needed to, she just couldn't anymore. Um, they were leading a very destructive life and they had children and it was just a mess. I think that's the kind of thing. She had to make that difficult decision to take control of her own life and break up, even though she was so sure. She was so sure that this was the person that she was going to build a family with. They already had a child. She was so sure. Have to let some certain things go. And it will be difficult because this will be someone you love very much. Specifically channeled message. I'd like to finally finish off with the magician because I think that's actually well, it's actually judgment, but this talks of realization, ascension. I think these cards falling together is very beautiful. Um, a realization, ascension, a final level, a uniting of the it's like the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the whole picture coming together in a divine alignment. Um, yeah, I'd prefer to read the Magician and then just finish off. So it's good news. It's great. I don't think, like I said, nothing personal. It doesn't feel like anything on a personal level. It feels like we'll be fine. We'll just need to exercise our discernment to understand when it is that we have to let certain relationships and past patterns go. A sudden conscious awareness of your personal path in life, new initiatives, creative ideas, the direct application of will to manifest an idea or a dream, the ability to tread a difficult path with confidence, awareness of personal values so that ethical choices can be made, the interrelationship of many different dimensions and how these can be made to work for rather than against you. Skill with words, self confidence, and creative action of all kinds. This is great. I think this really captures it all. This is where we're at, truly. We make encounter things like this, the chaos, disaster, people walking to their own troubles. Please know where your limits are. Don't fatigue yourself trying to help people who are chaotic, you know when to sign out, know when to kind of be like, that's not my problem. Yeah, you have to draw the line. I really love the sentence, the interrelationship of many different dimensions and how these can be made to work for rather than against you. This is our vibrating bones. This is the knowledge within, the inner wisdom that's awakening. We can trust ourselves, our hearts, our bodies, more than anything, more than what's happening externally. We can trust ourselves. And I hope that you do that this week. Might be a little bit dramatic, but I think that, especially if you're used to peace, I'm very much used to peace. I hate drama. I hate people coming with the same old, same old. So, yeah, I don't feel prepared for this, but I think that it is what it is mostly. And yeah, we'll be good. We are powerful. We're very powerful. This is us entirely. We can control the winds and the fires. We have all of the knowledge to be able to do this within us, and we can trust ourselves ultimately to be able to do that at the exact time, exactly as and when. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know that we are going to have a very spiritually productive week. I know we will. We are going to see upgrades like no other. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be fantastic. Take care of yourselves. Please try to nurture your hearts. Stay hydrated. Don't answer to messages immediately if you don't feel like it. Stay off your phone. Try to be off social media. If you feel there's a draining energy nowadays that comes with doom scrolling, like I doom scroll every other day, but nowadays it feels like it's especially draining. So be aware of that. And try your best to focus on the fact that you are powerful. That's it. Period.